Hey everybody, welcome back to another collab video. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. I know I haven't been putting out a lot of content lately, but I do apologize. You guys are probably noticing one thing right now, which is I look like a chipmunk. um, and my face seems a little bit more bigger. Just to reiterate, if you did not watch the last collab video, um, I recently had oral surgery. I had all four of my wisdom teeth taken out, so I'm still in recovery mode. Just a bunch of swelling. So if you notice that my face seems a little bigger, that's just because day 3 is typically the worst from what I've heard in terms of the swelling. So hopefully by tomorrow the swelling will start to go down. I've been making sure to keep myself prioritized in terms of drinking my liquids, and like right now I'm in that phase of just trying to regain my strength back. So that's just where we're at. So but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop doing videos for you guys, because now I'm at a point where I can now start to communicate more. And my mouth is beginning to allow me to talk more at length versus periods, because you guys know what I mean. If you guys have ever had your wisdom teeth taken out, I've served people who did it to like 2 teeth, 1 teeth at a time. I did all 4, so I'm cheap. I'm just like, I'll pay for it all right off the bat. So if you see my face is a little bit bigger, if you notice my expressions may not be as expressive as they should be, that's just because my mouth is just not allowing me to do that. So forgive me, but my opinions have not changed on any of these topics. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into today. So, and also just to ask, before anyone asks, yes, I do hope to get some reviews done. Hopefully, it's just been a very busy past week, obviously with surgery and all that stuff. So I just haven't had time to really sit down and watch anything new, but I will definitely make sure to get back on it. I think like Tom and Jerry is supposed to come out this week, if I'm not mistaken, or the week coming up. I know there was a couple of other films like Palmer and all other stuff that I didn't get a chance to watch. I'll definitely watch those at some point. But anyways, let's get into our news topics for today, because this is pretty much what I'll be doing before, because I really would like to concentrate on the film and get past all this, But news topics, I can give you my opinions on these. Alright, so let's get into it. So we actually have a couple of interesting topics for today. First one we're going to talk about is, of course, the big story of the week was Sasha Calle. If you guys have never heard of Sasha Calle, you will know her now, because she is going to be playing Supergirl in the Flash movie. We know the Flash movie is happening. I heard that it's supposedly filming right now. Not sure if that's legit or not, but yes, she has been casted as Supergirl. So that is 2 things right off the bat. One is that yes, Supergirl will be in the Flash movie, and 2, they have someone already lined up to play that role. Now, there's a very, very cute video out there of Andy Muschietti, who is the director of the film. You guys know him from the It movies and Mama, for anybody who is a big fan of Andy Muschietti. He had posted on Twitter the Zoom call interview where he relayed the information to Sasha that she is going to be Supergirl, and it's just an absolutely adorable, and it honestly won me over in terms of her personality. I'm really rooting for her, and I love that she's an unknown. I love that I don't know anything about her, and that gives me 0 expectations, which are the best expectations. So yeah, I am very happy. I am very, very happy that that we're going to be seeing other characters, because I know this is supposed to be a Flashpoint type story. We already have Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck being in the story, so even though it's not going to be Flashpoint, it will definitely be inspired by Flashpoint. And I'm excited to see that they're introducing other characters beyond those 2 Batman characters. So curious if Supergirl will be in a different universe, or if this is the Supergirl in the DC universe. I'm not sure. But it's nice to know that they are moving forward with Supergirl. It also kind of gives an idea about the status on Superman. We've known for a while that they wanted to do a Supergirl movie of some kind, so this might be their gateway into it. And Superman looks to be something in the far, far future versus something in the present. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see what she brings to it. I just think that reaction on Zoom was so just wonderful, and I think that it honestly did win me over a little bit. So I'm rooting for her, and I hope she just kills it. I mean, there's not really much on The Flash that we know right now, because Christina Hudson's writing it, the same one who did Birds of Prey and Bumblebee, and that, of course, Ezra Miller is starring as The Flash, Michael Keaton's returning as Batman, and Ben Affleck is returning as Batman in their respective ways. But beyond that, not much to talk about there. So, in talking about other comic book news, Danny Elfman, if you guys don't know Danny Elfman, his work as a composer, his work includes the Batman 1989 score, the Beetlejuice score, and more notably the Spider-Man score. He did Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. The reason why that is notable is because he was working with Sam Raimi, and most recently with Oz and the Great and Powerful. I think so. Yeah, I think he did also Oz and the Great and the Powerful. Well, it looks like these two are reuniting for what? Doctor Strange 2. So Danny Elfman will be scoring Doctor Strange 2, or as it's called, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Michael Giacchino was originally the composer, but he has now been replaced. I'm not sure what the reasoning was. I'd probably due to scheduling conflicts, but yeah, I'm excited to see that Danny Elfman's coming in. He recently did, in terms of comic book stuff, I think he did Justice League. And I think that was for Josh's version, not for Snyder's version. So, so it's cool to see that Danny Elfman will be diving into the MCU. I'm not sure if he has done anything with the MCU beforehand, but hopefully it brings a certain angle to it. Hopefully it's not just like the same Marvel flair. Hopefully it is something fresh and unique. But beyond that, I mean, not much to say there. It's just cool to see that Danny Elfman is now scoring Doctor Strange 2. So, okay, now we're going to get into the topics that I'm really interested in talking about. And that is these last three topics. The first one being that Joaquin Phoenix, who we all know obviously from his role as Arthur Fleck in Joker, if you know Joaquin Phoenix, he's not just Arthur Fleck. He has done some incredible pieces of work. The Master, I have said for many years, is the best film from the 2010s era. He is incredible in that film. I will even argue that he should have won the Oscar for The Master over Daniel Day-Lewis as Lincoln. Yes, I will argue that. I think he was magnificent in You Were Never Really Here. He's one of my favorite actors working today, and he's been an inspiration for me as trying to be a performer anyway. Well, it looks like he has lined up what his next project is going to be. I know he has a film coming out with Mike Mills, which is called Come On, Come On, which I'm looking forward to. I heard it's a black and white film, so I'm always a sucker for black and white. Well, he's now lined up. He's been lining up some other work with like Ridley Scott and other people, but it looks like his next project will be a film called Disappointment Boulevard, being directed by none other than Ari Aster. Yes, the same guy who gave you Hereditary and Midsommar. He is now working on a new film called Disappointment Boulevard, which according to sources is being described as a, quote, an intimate decade-spanning portrait of one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time. So this doesn't sound like a horror film. It sounds more like a biopic. Not sure how, what elements they're looking for or who this entrepreneur is. But the simple fact is that, yeah, Joaquin Phoenix and Ari Aster together, and I think that that's enough. I think that is just enough for us, and I am ecstatic to see these two working together and seeing what they bring to the table. That title sounds intriguing. Disappointment Boulevard sounds depressing, but it also sounds interesting nonetheless. So yeah, So I'm looking forward to that too. I mean, that sounds interesting. I liked Midsommar a lot. I haven't seen Hereditary, just to admit it. I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips from it, and it looks really good. So, um, so yeah, I am looking forward to that. That sounds really, really intriguing, especially with Joaquin Phoenix in the role. Um, and now, speaking of inspirations, I now want to get into my main topics for today, which are this. Now, one of these topics is a little bit old, but I still wanted to talk about it, and the other one is, well, a little bit more recent, but it kind of ties into a topic that I've been meaning to discuss. So the first one I want to talk about, what I was alluding to of inspirations, Shia LaBeouf has been going through a lot lately. We know that there's been a lot of allegations surrounding Shia LaBeouf recently. Well, it looks like Shia LaBeouf has split from his talent agency, CAA, and Variety put out the story. And this is what they had to say about it. Or at least Variety has put out a story about it, which is this. So they said, quote, CAA has not fired LaBeouf. So they said that right up front. They did not fire LaBeouf. Two people familiar with the matter tell Variety, explaining that the actor made the decision to take a break from acting so that he could solely focus on his recovery and get the help he has admitted he needs. CAA is not working with LaBeouf at this time and has not been working with him for roughly 1 month. They continue on to say that LaBeouf has been receiving treatment for over 5 weeks, the source says, and the actor is currently living in an inpatient facility. His release will be dependent on his recovery. So, now I'm not going to get into the whole, allegations that are going on with Shia LaBeouf. I'm actually going to bring up allegations again in a second and talking about another person. But in terms of just talking about what's being laid out, this is all good stuff for Shia LaBeouf. I mean, I am very happy to hear that he is going to be focusing on his recovery, and he's knowing when to stop, because I heard stories for a long time about what Shia LaBeouf's been going through, particularly like alcoholism, PTSD, signs of aggression. I mean, they detail this stuff also in the Variety article. So I'm very, very happy to see that he's going to be, really taking it seriously. He's not just, just saying that he's going to. He's actually going to take it seriously. At least I hope so. And he's making the better choice for him, for both him and his career. I mean, it shows that he's taking it seriously. Now, will he work for CEA again? Depending on what they find on the current allegations against him, maybe or maybe not. But it goes without saying that Shia LaBeouf has always been a rough diamond in the industry. I mean, he's an underrated talent. He's one of my personal inspirations in how he decides to look at his roles, honestly. But I'm not blind to the destructive behavior he's had over the years and the damage he's done to himself and his reputation in the industry. There's a reason why a lot of people don't want to work with him. There's a reason why Olivia Wilde fired Shia LaBeouf, which to me was for a couple of other reasons, but I understand more or less now why she made the decision. But nevertheless, though, I am very happy that he is looking to finally turn his life around for the better and taking a needed rest and, looking to bring himself back and finding himself again. I'm really happy that he's doing that for himself. But in talking about allegations, this leads into our last, but really the main topic for today, because this is really where I wanted to talk about certain things, which is, of course, talking about certain things that happen involving Disney. Now, I'm going to be talking about two people, both of which have very different situations going on, but I want to give my opinions on both these people. So, let's first discuss Joss Whedon, because as you all know, there has now been more allegations coming to the surface about Joss Whedon beyond Ray Fisher's claims, and the question is, what happens to Joss Whedon now? What happens moving forward? Because we have heard for years, I'll put it this way. because I read the story online. I forget who it was. It was someone from the Buffy series, who was who put out a story about how Josh treated her on set. Here's my take on this. In talking about Joss Whedon, and then this kind of leads into another topic that's been recently been talking about. Here's my take on it about Joss Whedon and all this stuff that's going on. We have seen over the years, more recently even, that Hollywood will throw you out if it becomes public and widely known to the public. The reason why Joss Whedon has stayed on for as long as he has been and currently is because the public just isn't aware of the allegations surrounding him as much as someone like a Harvey Weinstein or a Kevin Spacey were back then, or trending online like a Gina Carano this past week, who was being talked about everywhere. Like her name got thrown everywhere and was fired because of that, not just because of what she said online, okay? Because this leads to me talking about Gina Carano, because people need to understand the value, and this ties into Joss Whedon. People need to understand the value of a job. A job is not a privilege. I have to remember people to remind that to everyone all the time. A job is not a privilege. A job is an opportunity. Okay? And when you get a job, doesn't matter how high you are, doesn't matter what the job description is, you always need to remember that once you sign the contract or once you sign whatever this and that is, you have a boss. And that boss is going to tell you what you can and cannot do. Okay? And in the case of Gina Carano, from what I've read up on, she was told 3 times by her bosses to stop doing that. And she decided to continue. And again, she's allowed to, as a human being, to say whatever she wants. But when you're an employee, you have a boss, and you have to respect your boss, or you get fired. And she's decided to screw her boss, whatever, and just get fired. And people were surprised by this, and I was just like, how do you not come to expect this? Okay. Like, if we knew that Disney was talking to her repeatedly about, these tweets, I would not have been surprised if she got fired. I was surprised because, again, this is not public information, but at the time it wasn't. But now knowing what Disney was trying to do with Gina Carano and how they were handling that situation, they gave her all the freedom in the world. They gave her all the freedom in the world within working for a company. Okay, we're not talking about free speech. We're not talking about being a person, whatever. Because you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. But you're not free of consequences. Okay? And especially when you're working for somebody. Okay? Like, I currently work for In-N-Out. And not saying that I hold any merit, but I'm just saying that if I walk into In-N-Out, or if I go outside In-N-Out and I do something very public that everyone knows about, and In-N-Out somehow finds out about it, they're going to sit down with me and ask me, to not do that again or get fired, because they're the bosses. They get to dictate what to do. Now, obviously, if I don't agree with something, I will bring it up to my bosses. But beyond that, my job as an employee is to serve my boss. That's it. It's not just to have a good time. It's not just to make money. It's not just to do this and that. It's about pleasing the man, the woman, whoever's in charge. Okay? And I think Gina Carano failed in thinking that way. I think that she felt entitled. She felt that she can say whatever she wanted without getting consequences. And I just heard just today that for some reason that she felt that she was being bullied. Like, oh, Disney bullied me. And I was just like, they didn't bully you. They were brutally being brutally honest with you and telling you to stop doing that. Not because of what you're saying, because believe me, what she said, in my opinion, is just ridiculous. Some of the suggestive stuff that she said online, it's like ridiculous stuff. But again, it's her opinion. She's allowed to have that. But if you're going to work for a company, if they're telling you to stop doing that, You need to stop doing that. Okay? They're not silencing your opinion. They are telling you you are representing our company. So act accordingly. Okay? That's what they're saying. And I get that. If some In-N-Out employee can get that, why can't Gina Carano get that? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I can get that and I work at some fast food joint, how could a star like Gina Carano was not get that concept? It just blows my mind. So, and again, I hold no merit. I'm nobody. I'm really a nobody. And I mean, I mean this much to the world. I mean, I really, really do. Not like a Gina Carano, who has so many fans. She's not just a fighter. She's also was the star of one of the stars of The Mandalorian. Everyone loved her character. So, I found her character to be fine, but people really flocked to her. But when you don't comply with company policy, you're going to get fired. Simple as that. And I just think that she decided to, speak the way she wanted to speak, and I commend her for that. But she has to also understand that there's consequences to doing that. Like, she got picked up for with Ben Sharpio, whatever his name is, to do a film together. That they won't shut us down or whatever. I'm just like, I don't think you get why they fired you. Like, I really don't think. I don't think Gina really understood why they fired her. They didn't fire her because, oh, we didn't like what you said. No, that was just a bonus. The reason why they fired you was because you didn't comply with company policy. They told you to stop doing that shit. They told you to stop doing that 3 times. Strike 3, you're out. Okay. That's just the rule, okay? Disney was being super generous with Gina. 3 times, okay? In-N-Out, again, if I messed up 1 time, that's it, all right? Or 2 times at least. Or put it in a position, if I put myself in that position, like let's say I'm working on a short film right now, and one of my people on the production side or on the acting side goes on Twitter and says something that gets a lot of people talking and looks bad on our part as well. I have to make the right call. I have to make the hard decisions, and it has to be like like everywhere. Like people really got to be talking about it. It can't just be like, oh, this one guy said this online. No, it has to be a bunch of people online for me to start responding to it, because then that's starting to impact our project, and we can't have that. It's just thinking from a business model, not from a story model. Because I mean, if you ever come to work for me on a short film of any kind, I'm a very open person. I don't hate someone because of their beliefs or whatever, so they can say whatever they want, and it doesn't really affect me, nor does it really affect my productions. But if I was really working for a company, I'm just, again, let me reiterate. If I was working for a company, and if I was a filmmaker, an actual filmmaker, and I had some actors saying shit online, and it started to affect our product a lot, they would be given the choice to either take down the tweet and then put out a statement and apologizing, or they can leave. It's a very simple thing to do, and Gina was given that chance. And she decided to apologize on Twitter, but she then went back and did it again. So what the hell do you expect a company to do? They're going to fire you, okay? If you don't comply with company policy and you do something within the company that jeopardizes their image, they're going to remove you if it's widely known to the public, okay? That's how it rolls. And it would be the same rationale for me if I was working on an actual film set. I would look to the studio and say, listen, if this is not destructive to my film set, if this is just an opinion, okay, no one touching people, we'll get to Joss Whedon, and I'll tell you how I feel about that. But in terms of Gina Carano, if she's just saying stuff online and nobody is talking about it online, but I have like an actor or two maybe like they're just like, oh, like I don't like his opinion, I would tell them, dude, it's an opinion, just deal with it. Okay, it's not like she's gonna come out here and start, harassing you in that way. If she does, that's different. But she has a different opinion, just grow a spine. That's it. Really, just grow a spine. But that's not what happened. What happened was that Gina was told by her boss 3 times, do that again, you're fired. Do that again, you're fired. Do that again, you're really fired this time. And she did it, and then she got fired. So I don't understand why people are just like, free speech card. I'm like, it's not a free speech card. It's called working for a company and knowing when to zip your lips and to just move forward with the company if you choose to, or leave. And that's what they chose to do. That's what Gina chose to do. She chose, when she put out that recent tweet, that I'm not going to work for this company anymore. She knew that. She knew that going in. Yes, I mean, if that happened, if I was working for a company and that shit was happening on my film set a lot, like if I told an actor, you better stop putting that shit online because it's starting to look bad on us, because that comes back on us because we hired you and now you're making us look bad. So stop with that. And if that person continued doing that, then yeah, they'd be fired. I would do the exact same thing. And I don't want to hear, oh, it's an opinion. No, when the opinion starts to affect the work, then that becomes a bigger issue, okay? When it starts to affect the work, when it starts to affect everything going on, then that's an issue. Which leads me back to Joss Whedon's cases now. Now, Joss Whedon is in a whole different field than Gina Carano is, okay? Gina Carano, as far as I know, has not done anything to the level of what Joss Whedon has allegedly done. Joss Whedon, over the years, he's had a lot of allegations against him. I mean, I remember reading stuff about him for like years. I've heard stories about him for years. So when I read this new story, I forgot the name of the actress. I do apologize, but there's a story, I believe it's on the Hollywood Reporter, or Variety, I think it's Hollywood Reporter, where one of the Buffy actresses talked about her experience with Josh, and apparently she was pregnant. And I'm going to get the story wrong, but basically Josh did not like the fact that she was pregnant or something. I forget how the story went, but all I'll tell you is that the story made me bring up this question, which I brought up at the top, which was what's going to happen to Joss Whedon moving forward? And my answer with that is this. Like I said right at the top, if it becomes widely known to the public, then you will get thrown out. And in Joss Whedon's case, like I said, he has stayed on as long as he had because he's been able to not allow those accusations to become widely known. Okay, we know because we're film fans, but to the general public, they don't know that about Joss Whedon. This time, however, I do believe we will hear something happen with Josh. I really think we will. I believe he was fired recently on a project of sorts, if I'm not mistaken. But I do believe that the overwhelming amount of support on this, plus all the other accounts of allegations, I think we'll finally give this time around. Especially with Ray Fisher leading the charge, I think that stuff will happen. I personally believe her, to be honest, because of one thing, and I just said it. I've heard these stories for years. All these types of sexual allegations and the misconduct on set, I've heard that for years. The lack of communication, the lack of cooperation, I've heard that for years. I've heard all these types of stories about Josh for years. So this is not new. This all lines up. And just to reiterate, you will never hear about his firing or his removal publicly like Gina Carano's story. Gina Carano's story was kept under wraps until it was made known to be, until it was appropriate to be public. So this is something that's going to be worked out behind the scenes. I have no doubt that Josh is probably talking to some people right now. But to wrap up my whole thoughts on all this, because this is like a big, stuff. I think that when you go into a job, you have to understand the rules, and you have to comply with those rules. Okay, especially when it comes to like sexual misconduct and all that stuff. You need to be able to. If you cannot comply with that rule, there's something wrong with you. Honestly, there is. If you cannot comply and understand the workplace and in terms of sexual harassment and all that stuff, if you don't understand that, there's a problem with you. You need to get yourself checked, because that is like 101 in the workplace. At least that should be to me. That you don't touch anyone, you don't look at anybody the wrong way. You just don't. You just don't. It's just not how you roll in the workplace. Okay? You don't make any suggestive comments. Like, you don't do that stuff. You just don't. Not in the workplace. You don't. And also, for Gina's case, you need to know, if you're going to work for this company, their policies. And if their policies include social media, which I'll let you know, In-N-Out has a social media policy as well. So it's not like it's like a high corporate type thing. It's low level shit too. Okay. If you don't know how to roll with a company, or if you don't want to roll with that company the way they want to have you do things, then you have the option to leave. And Gina chose to leave by making those tweets out. She knew what she was doing. So, yeah, basically, guys, hopefully we can, hopefully Hollywood, I'm happy that, stuff like the Me Too movement has been going on, and that they're continuing to flush out all these really horrible people like Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, Roman Polanski. I'm really glad they're getting rid of all these disgusting people from the industry. And I hope that continues. And hopefully we start seeing that, Hollywood's going to take a stand. They're not going to just allow people to work in the industry like this. And that we're going to see some change. And I'm glad that change is happening. So, for the better. More or less on Josh than Gina. Gina's was an opinion, but again, the company told you to not do it. Repeatedly tell you to stop doing it, and you got fired for it. I mean, it's their right, and I'm completely on Disney's side on that one. Just to be fair with you. So, but yeah. So, that was kind of a tangent. So I hope that made some sense. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for this video for today, guys. I mainly wanted to talk about the Gina Carano, Joss Whedon stuff, and the Shia LaBeouf stuff that's been going on. But let me know your guys' thoughts on the Sasha Calle stuff that was going on with her being Supergirl, Doctor Strange, Joaquin Phoenix, that movie. Let me know all your thoughts about this, and particularly in the whole Joss Whedon / Gina Carano thing that I brought up. Just let me know your guys' thoughts on that, if I made any sense or not. And yeah, I'll be back with another video soon. Hopefully all this will start to go away, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys next time.